So I'm here with Claire from OdiliaClark, and there's many drugs and alcohol companies at this show, but OdiliaClark have taken a very different approach and start with impairment, because often drugs and alcohol are a coping mechanism for things like impairment through fatigue or stress. And what we have to obviously look at is why people are consuming. So Claire here focuses very much on the wellbeing side of the organisation. So Claire, what are the additional things that OdiliaClark can support you with as part of your impairment programme?
So in safety-facing industries, there's a lot of risk around people being impaired. Now, OdiliaClark look at impairment under an umbrella of risk and making sure that those people are supported so that minimises the risk in the industry that they work in. Now, my side of things is looking at how we can support from inside the organisation or from the greater industry. So we look at supporting mental health, well-being, the day-to-days ups and downs that people might go through that might, for a short time, mean that there is risk in the workplace with them being there. Now, through things like peer support programmes, we can evolve so that people feel that they are safe to reach out to a peer support programme if they have a wellbeing issue or a difficulty, or they have maybe an impairment issue around drugs and alcohol. They can speak to somebody that they trust, who's from the world that they know, and then they can start to get that support that they need. And by doing that, then they can come along, and then the impairment situation may progress from there. So if someone then has an impairment difficulty, it might be that we do a lifestyle test for them to see how they're doing. Are they at risk? Is there any way we can support them with our mental health specialists and our psychologists?
So just from that point of view, everyone thinks of drugs and alcohol testing as peeing into a cup, excuse me. But ultimately, actually, it's matured a lot into impairment and lifestyle. So what's lifestyle testing? When would you undertake that?
So lifestyle testing is looking at an overall view of somebody's habits as such. So it could be that, yes, they go out for a couple of drinks here and there, but it's not creating risk in their lifestyle. It's not meaning that there's risk that might be affecting their work. But if you do lifestyle testing for someone, it gives you an overall view of around about 3 months worth of what their usage is of a certain substance. And that gives us an overall view of what their risk is in effect.
So, for example, you could have someone that did drink on a regular basis, and if you do lifestyle testing, it would then show that they had a background level of alcohol consumption. So if they're working in a safety critical industry, that could increase the risk of that individual being impaired on a particular day. So you do a lot of that in the airline industry, is that correct?
Yeah, we can do. We do it in a lot of different safety-facing industries, but a lot of what we do is in aviation with pilots, cabin crew, or other safety-facing personnel.
But also one of the things as well is people don't pee into cups anymore either, because that ultimately doesn't demonstrate impairment, because by the time it's got to that stage in the body, it's already passed through, so you're not necessarily impaired. So I would recommend, come down, speak to OdiliaClark. They're very, very much looking much more at the holistic risk management to your business rather than just cold, hard drugs and alcohol testing. If you employed someone to work for you, you must have thought they were the right person to work for you. So the best thing you can do is look after that person and keep them in your business, and that way OdiliaClark can help you. So I'm off to talk to another stand. Please come down and speak to Claire. I know they're here for the next 2 days, and I'll see you later. Thank you, Claire.